Now at noon, the race for the White House ramps up this week. President Biden and former President Trump get ready to face off. Good afternoon. Welcome to the KTLA 5 News at noon. I'm Sandra Mitchell.
And I'm Samantha Cortese. Glenn and Lou are off today. The two presidents will meet this week in their first televised debate of the 2024 campaign.
And it comes as many recent polls have the race essentially tied. KTLA's Alina Abovian live in the newsroom with a preview of the debate. Alina, good afternoon.
Hi, ladies. Good afternoon. The debate will be taking place in Atlanta and on CNN this Thursday evening, hosted by Jake Tapper and Dana Bash. Both candidates have accepted the network's invitation for the debate, and they've agreed to a brand new set of rules this time around. This will be a 90-minute debate. Microphones will be muted on both sides for the other candidate to speak while the other one is speaking. There will be no live audience, and in a coin toss, President Biden chose to reserve the podium on the stage, right side of the stage, and former President Trump, he will have the last word by giving his closing remarks after the president. Now, with the election less than 5 months away, the race remains extremely tight. President Biden and Mr. Trump remain virtually tied in the polls. Independent candidate Robert F. Kennedy Jr. failed to meet the 15% threshold to participate in Thursday's debate. And according to some political experts, the debate is an opportunity for President Biden to address his decreasing support among key voters, and this includes blacks, Latinos, and young voters, while Mr. Trump is said to be losing grounds amongst older voters. Now, as for what will be talked about, most likely some legal drama. Mr. Trump was recently found guilty on 34 criminal charges. Additionally, he faces 4 other criminal cases against him. Trump will appear for sentencing in his latest criminal trial on July 11th. Now, just days before the Republican National Convention. Meanwhile, President Biden's son Hunter was recently convicted on felony gun charges in Delaware and faces a second federal trial for allegedly failing to pay his taxes. The candidates will likely also discuss age. At 81 years old, President Biden is the oldest sitting U.S. president in history. Former President Trump is 78 years old. Other issues will include immigration policy, the economy, international politics. Voters say they still are undecided when it comes to sending military aid to Ukraine and Israel. Over the weekend, Mr. Trump spoke about the debate at a rally in Philadelphia.
Joe Biden's open border has also been a disaster for our great African American and Hispanic American population. So, what's happening when millions of people flow over? The people that are most hurt are, number one, the African Americans in this country.
And KTLA will air the CNN presidential debate Thursday evening. Our coverage begins at 6 p.m. and the second debate for President Biden and for Mr. Trump is scheduled for September 10th. That's the very latest. We'll send it back to you.
Alina, thank you. And former President Trump says his pick for vice president will be in attendance at the debate in Atlanta. He told reporters over the weekend he's made his decision. So here's a look at that reported short list. North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum, said to be a top pick. Others include 3 senators, Ohio's J.D. Vance, Florida's Marco Rubio, and South Carolina's Tim Scott. Republican Representatives Elise Stefanik and Byron Donalds, also contenders. Former HUD Secretary and neurosurgeon Ben Carson, also on that list.
Vice President Kamala Harris is set to arrive at LAX this evening to attend campaign events in the San Gabriel Valley. Before arriving in the Southland, she's scheduled to attend an event at the University of Maryland, then fly to Phoenix for another campaign stop. The vice president has a home in Brentwood. She was last here earlier this month when she stopped by the Jimmy Kimmel Show.
And today marks 2 years since the U.S. Supreme Court's landmark decision to overturn Roe v. Wade, allowing states to restrict abortion access. The anniversary comes as abortions are actually increasing across the U.S., even though it's essentially banned in some states. NPR is reporting patients are using telehealth visits to gain access to abortion medication through the mail. The Biden campaign says it's holding more than 50 events to rally supporters around today's anniversary. Abortion rights advocates also planning a rally outside the Supreme Court today. And we are following some developing news right now as police increase patrols around local places of worship.
The heightened security follows yesterday's pro-Palestinian protests that grew violent outside a local synagogue. KTLA's Sarah Welch is live in the Pico Robertson area with details and a response from elected officials. Hi, Sarah.
Hi, Sam and Sandra. Good afternoon. Yeah, people attending the synagogue and folks living in this predominantly Jewish neighborhood are really demanding answers how this situation escalated like it did. And yes, they're calling on the LAPD police chief and the mayor to make sure this never happens again. Watch. Several people were injured when fights broke out during a pro-Palestinian protest in front of the Abbas Torah synagogue on West Pico on Sunday afternoon. That synagogue was holding a real estate investment conference and had been made aware by police that a protest here could take place. Now, witnesses say those protesters blocked the doors of the synagogue, taunted people trying to get in. People attending the conference had to sneak in on side doors. Then things escalated, and we spoke with one man who was in the middle of it all.
I had friends that were attacked with broken noses. I had friends that were attacked with bear spray. This is extremely frightening. We don't know what's going to happen. We're not worried about words. We're worried about the violence that has been caused to the Jewish people. We're afraid that people are going to come and make this Nazi Germany and have the rise of a Reich that are going to come and attack us and attack our homes and attack the people, as they demonstrated that they will come to our homes, they will come to our place of worship, and they will be violent.
I need police over here. Please, oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm really, really scared.
And you can see that man on the phone there. He called LAPD, he says that in the moment there just weren't enough officers here to begin with, and that they did not intervene when the fighting first broke out. Later, though, you can see video where reinforcements were called in and they were able to clear the scene. Now, the rabbi spoke this morning saying if these protests had been planned and had been planned for the other side of the street, perhaps this wouldn't have happened and should never happen again, especially in front of a synagogue.
People were scared to come in. People prevented to come in. We had to sneak our members inside for prayers by side doors, and protesting like that is really a violation of a holy space.
And LA's mayor has condemned what happened yesterday. We're told she is meeting with the police chief today to talk about measures to keep people safe. Again, there are additional patrols in front of houses of worship. And that man we spoke to today says he's really hoping that the district attorney is going to hold these people accountable, because he says there should be and definitely be consequences for these types of actions. We'll send it back to you in Hollywood.
Sarah, thank you. The dismantling of Wayfarers Chapel is set to be completed today with the removal of the main frame wooden beams.
This historic building had to be dismantled after land movement damaged the structure. That was back in February. KTLA's Shelby Nelson live in Rancho Palos Verdes. She's got the latest on this big move. Shelby.
That's right, and over the last hour, we've heard crews working off into the distance on this property, working to dismantle what's left of that chapel. I'm going to step out so you can see what we can see out here. There's a sign right in front that says that the chapel is closed due to land movement, and then I guess off into the distance is where that chapel is. Today is officially the day the structure that stood as a beaming pillar in this community finally comes down because of the moving ground beneath it. The Wayfarers Chapel, a National Historic Landmark, has been here more than 70 years overlooking the Pacific. The Rancho Palos Verdes Church symbolizes union and has been the site of thousands of weddings. It's been a sanctuary that was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright Jr., and now the 16 beams that have held it up will be dismantled and taken to an off-site storage facility. The glass had previously been removed, and the whole reason behind this is what we've been reporting on for months now. The peninsula is currently moving and has caused significant damage in areas up here after winter rainstorms exacerbated matters, causing roadways to buckle, among other issues. Because of that moving ground, the chapel saw its walls and ceilings torque and bend. The floor was heavily cracked. All of that ultimately leading to the difficult decision to dismantle it after it was no longer safe.
It was just so beautiful, you know, it's just one of a kind, you know, and I hope they can, you know, put another one together somewhere, just, you know, the same, that looks the same.
It's sad. I think it's sadder that people are losing their homes or potentially losing their homes. But yeah, it's definitely a loss for the community, and, you know, the impact of the landslide is going to be huge for years to come.
Now, if you go to the chapel's website, visitors are told that the Portuguese Bend landslide has accelerated at an unprecedented rate and that it's dramatically impacting the structure and surrounding area. Dan Burchett, the executive director, says that it's a tragedy, but they are committed to preserving the chapel either on the current site or a similar site close by in Rancho Palos Verdes that's geologically safe. And again, back out here live, what they're going to be doing now is reevaluating that to see where exactly they could put that new structure. That's the very latest from Rancho Palos Verdes. I'm Shelby Nelson, KTLA 5 News.
Shelby, thank you. J.J. Redick expected to be formally introduced as the new head coach of the Lakers later this afternoon.
The Lakers will introduce him at a news conference at the team's UCLA Health Training Center in El Segundo. Redick has no professional coaching experience, but he played in the NBA for 15 seasons. Over the weekend, Lakers shooting